Hello, my name is Elizabeth Olivas, and I'm going to be talking about parental child abduction. Parental child abduction is the hiding, taking, or keeping hold of a child by his or her parent, defying the rights of the child's other parent or family member. This type of abduction occurs when the parents separate or begin divorce proceedings. Usually, the parent will take the child to gain advantage in the pending child custody, or will fail to bring the child back at the end of an access visit, or if the parent has permission to travel with the child and fails to bring the child back. That is known as parental child abduction. It doesn't necessarily have to be the parent, it can be the abduction of a close friend, of a cousin, aunt, or uncle. Each year, approximately 250,000 children in the U.S. are abducted due to parental child abduction. A lot of people aren't aware that this does happen often. There's other cases of the parent seeing that the other parent is unstable, is not in the right state of mind, usually is abusive verbally or physically. So they take the matters into their own hands and take the child away from the other parent. But the other parent that's not right in the head, you may say, does have the right to call law enforcement because they are violating the rights of the legal documents that both parents agreed upon. Why is it important to know this information? You might know other people that you might fear their child is going to be abducted, or your own child might be abducted. You want to keep in mind of what you can do. I'm going to be talking about that more later on towards the end of the speech, what you can do and how you can be aware of the situations. An example of these cases is one locally that I had found here in the Riverside County. It was a little less than a year ago. On Tuesday, July 30th, 2019, between the times of 9 to 10, two children were abducted by the mother's boyfriend, and he was living there at the time with them. But keep in mind, the relationship was abusive. There was constant arguing, constant fighting. It wasn't very stable relationship. It was a verbal and physical domestic altercation. But the mother had put the two children to sleep around 9 to 10 p.m. She then left the building around 11, came back, and saw that her two children and the boyfriend were missing. She immediately called the officers, and they came and made an investigation. In the investigation, they determined the boyfriend took the children without the mother's consent, and he also took the children's legal identification and documents, as well as other items. And they made the assumption that he was going to leave to Michigan right after the mother got a call from the boyfriend saying that he took the children to a local business, but there was no location or he had never returned home. That is when they took matters seriously. They put out a search release, and not too long, they did find the children. It just goes to show that this can happen to anyone, even here locally. Moving on to the living situations of the child being abducted. Usually the children are often lied to by the abductor, saying the other parent doesn't like us anymore, they left us, or they're deceased. So with that being said, usually the children have to be kept a secret. That falls under the children is often failed to receive a stable education when abducted. They are failed to receive adequate medical care as well. They're usually living in a substandard housing, somewhere where they cannot be found. They are told, obviously, like I said in the previous comment, how their parents, how the other parent that is looking for them is a bad person, does not want the child, or is deceased. Usually, if the child knows that they are abducted, fear is automatically put into their system, so they are scared to reach out to anybody. Therefore, they have to lie when they're out in public, say, no, I'm okay, like, nothing's wrong, when in reality there really is something wrong. There has been cases where there is fear and the child is put out in public but is too afraid to say anything. Also, they're fearful of contacting law enforcement, just to be safe of what the abductor might do to the child. In other cases, when the child is lied to and is sort of brainwashed, often when they're little, they are easily to be manipulated. They might think that the other parent does not want them anymore, so they're safe and they create a loving relationship with the abductor. And when the child is found and is brought back to the other parent that was searching for them, they are confused. They are unaware of what just happened to them. They thought they were safe with somebody they thought they knew, and therefore trust issues arise, and as well as other factors that come into play. That is when the harmful effects of the children that were abducted occur. The returned children may suffer loyalty conflicts, emotional detachment, and trauma, as well as inability to trust adults in general can hinder the child's ability to form lasting relationships even long into adulthood. The traumas of this are short-term and long-term. And as a parent who is abducting, they should be aware that this doesn't cause trouble to just the person itself, the other parent that is searching for them, the child, and the child's other family as well. And then when it comes to the situation, this is where I was talking about in the beginning, what to do if the situation comes about. There are many factors that you can help with. A few are: make sure to have current contact of the other parents, relatives, friends, and business associates. Updated pictures of the other parent, the one that abducted the children, their passport number, social security number, bank information, driver's license number, and automobile make, model, and license number. I know this is a lot of information, but if you can remember a few of these details, it will be very helpful in the future. Also, go to a local police department and get a set of fingerprints for each of your children, so that there's a set that can be transmitted to another state or country to help identify the kids. This will make the process a lot easier to find if the situation were to ever occur, of course. With that being said, there's also quite a few documentaries and movies about child abduction. One that I highly, highly recommend, and I know it was very popular a while ago on Netflix, and it is called Abducted in Plain Sight. This movie shows a 2017 true crime documentary about the kidnappings of Jan Brobergfeld, an Idaho teenager who was abducted by her neighbor, Robert Birchfield, in the 1970s. Now, this neighbor, he was very close to the family. He had everybody fooled. He had the mom fooled, he had the dad fooled, he even had the other siblings fooled. And this documentary goes to show how someone so close to you can do such a thing. And if you're ever looking for a movie, I highly recommend this one. And that is Parental Child Abduction. Thank you.